You are listening to Wilhelm, a film-centric podcast for film lovers of all kinds. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Wilhelm. I am your host, Ben Beck, and this episode we are exploring the films of someone who you can honestly consider probably one of the greatest entertainers of all time, all-around entertainers. That's right. This time we are revealing and discussing our choices for our top 5 favorite films from the amazing Steve Martin. And to help me, my guest makes his return to Wilhelm since we kicked it all off with the pilot first episode. He's the creator of the Podcastica network, as well as the host of numerous great podcasts. Welcome back to Wilhelm, Jason Cabassi.
Hey, glad to be here. Steve Martin is definitely a favorite of mine. When you put out all those great ideas of possible Wilhelm topics, that one jumped right out at me. And I'm like, can I please do that one? So I'm glad it's finally time.
Yeah, you laid claim. I mean, no pressure at all. But I mean, like, you know, the first episode that you were on, we did films we feel are like the most essential viewing for any film person, which is a daunting task in itself. You have Steve Martin, whose library is so well-rounded that it's difficult to pick a top 5. And then I know you also laid claim to Robin Williams, which we're going to do at some point in the future.
That one feels like more pressure.
Right?
But it'll be fun. Yeah, I mean, Steve Martin is such a Renaissance man, a comedian, actor, screenwriter, novelist, brilliant banjo player. Mm-hmm. So, but, you know, of course, we're going to be focusing on his movies, but I just really admire him all around. He just seems like such a great guy, too.
And from everywhere you hear from people that have worked with him or know him, like, he's incredibly nice. Like, you never, I don't think I've ever heard a bit of negativity about him.
That's always good to hear.
He just seems like he's one of those guys that probably qualifies as one of, like, the nicest guys in Hollywood.
That's great.
And I mean, his career has been going 40, almost 50 years, I think, at this point.
It was funny because one of the guys that's turned out not to be so nice is Chevy Chase. And turns out he's a huge a-hole, apparently. And but I always loved his comedy back in the day before I knew that, you know. And they did Three Amigos together, Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short. And I watched recently the Chevy Chase roast that happened like 10 years ago on Comedy Central. And I know he was upset because not a lot of stars showed up, you know, a lot of his friends. But Martin Short and Steve Martin and Nathan Lane sent in a video where they're like, "Hey, Chevy, we're here on the set of Three Amigos 2, and we just wanted to say hi."
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that's a rough roast to watch because you're right. Like he was so upset. Harsh. He was upset at the star power that was there, or lack of, rather. And from what I gather about that roast too, apparently he just was not happy with people picking on him because I guess he didn't realize what a roast was before he went into it.
Yeah. I mean, I heard it was extra harsh and then I watched it and all those are pretty harsh. I thought it was maybe a little harsher, but he clearly wasn't happy. So
yeah, he wasn't thrilled.
Anyway,
you can tell
we're not here to talk about him, but yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and, you know, in the list of accomplishments that Steve Martin has, too, one of the ones that I find most impressive is that he is one of the few. He's one of the few on a short list of people who has hosted SNL 15 times.
Oh, wow.
Like that's a lot. And he's been on SNL more time. Like he's made appearances on SNL 25 times, I think.
He was never like officially part of the cast?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Because I know that's where I first saw him doing I'm a wild and crazy guy and, you know, stuff like that.
He hosted relatively early. Like I think his first time hosting was back in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 15 times in however long SNL's been on, that you have to figure he started pretty early. So, but yeah, it's always great to see him pop up. And yeah, we're going to focus on his films and our favorites. So, you know, obviously, like some of these, at least in my top 5, they're not exactly the best Steve Martin movies, but they're ones that just have always remained some of my favorites for one reason or another.
There is at least one in there that totally in mine that fits that description to a T, where I have to maybe apologize for it a little, but it means it, it's nostalgic to me, and so it's in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I might have one. I might actually have like 2 or 3 in mind, right. But we'll get to it. Maybe we'll share some of them. Maybe we.
Yeah, won't. I'll be interested. I wonder. My guess is you and I will have 1 or 2 in common, but other than that, no. But we'll see if that pans out.
I think there's one in my top 5 that I think we've discussed before as being one of your favorites.
I bet I know what that is.
And we'll get to it. But you ready to jump into it?
Sure.
So before we get started with that, obviously, just got to let you know. Let the listeners know that neither Jason or myself have revealed our top 5 at any point, as not to influence ourselves. So Jason doesn't know mine. I don't know his. And of course, there's always the warning that we're going to discuss these. So there's spoilers involved. So just know that ahead of time. That said, let's jump into the top 5. Number 5. What do you got?
Okay, so these are in my order of how much I like them. Number 1's my very favorite Steve Martin movie. Mm-hmm. So I noticed with these top 5 lists, a lot of time number 5 is kind of the hardest one, because which ones you really love, but then when you get down to number 5, it's like, oh wait, okay, if I include this one, then I have to leave this one off.
Yeah, yep.
And that's kind of how I felt by this one. And this is the one that I know wasn't that well reviewed, but I saw it as a kid and loved it, and I think it's funny. And I watched, by the way, to get ready for this podcast, I went and rewatched 9 Steve Martin films in the last couple of weeks. And it was a lot of fun. It was good to revisit all these.
Yeah, but, I revisited a couple before we did this too.
I've never prepped so much for a podcast before, but maybe I've binge series. But anyway, so number 5 for me is Three Amigos.
That's a great choice, and it was really tough to not include in my top 5.
Yeah,
it really was.
Like I said, there's another one that we'll get to either on your list or in honorable mentions that I had to leave off to include this. But it's the 1986 movie directed by John Landis, who Animal House, Blues Brothers, etc. American Werewolf in London, written by Steve Martin, Lorne Michaels of SNL, and Randy Newman wrote the songs. I just think it's so silly. It's not deep at all, but it's just funny. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's Chevy Chase, Martin Short, and Steve Martin as these old Hollywood actors who play the Three Amigos, who go in and like save villages and stuff, and they're dressed up in these totally like Vegas-y looking Mexican, I don't know, ranger outfits or something. And they don't have any experience. So they accidentally get wrapped up in this village is being terrorized by this local bandit, El Guapo. And they think they're going to an acting job, but it's actually real. And I love the part where they think they're acting, and El Guapo comes, and they think they've ran him out of town, or actually it's one of his henchmen, but then he brings back like 50 more guys plus El Guapo, and they're just playing it up these parts, we are the Three Amigos, we fight for justice. And then one of them shoots Steve Martin in the arm.
Yep.
And then he's like, wait a minute, let me see that gun. They're using real bullets. And then he realizes what's up, and he goes back over to the other two, and he goes, it's real. And they're like, what? And he goes, this is real. and he goes, they're going to kill us. And then all 3 of them start crying.
What am I doing in Mexico?
just that they all started crying, and like I think Chevy Chase's like lower lip juts out and everything.
He starts doing the tremble. And I love that movie too, because like there's so many quotable lines in that movie. And like one of my favorite lines in that movie is like not so fast, El Guapo, or I'll pump you so full of lead you'll be using your dick for a pencil. Like it's so
and he goes, so what does that mean? I don't know. Or when another favorite part is they're going out to actually take on El Guapo. They've decided to try and be heroes, but they don't really know the way, and they're out in the desert on their horses, and it's one of those scenes where they're just clearly dying of thirst. They're all like parched and exhausted on their horses. And then Steve Martin like pulls up his canteen and to pour some in his mouth, and there's like 3 drops left in there. And then Martin Short does the same, and a bunch of dust comes out on his face. Yeah. And then you see Chevy Chase just chugging water, glug, 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 and it's like spilling all down his face.
And then he
body.
Just tosses the rest
of it. He tosses it, and it all like goes out into the ground.
Yeah.
And he's like, what does he say? Would you like a mint
balm?
Or something? Yeah, lip balm. That's right.
It's interesting. There's a very... And I wish one day they made a documentary on the making of that movie, because there's a lot of history behind the making of that movie. Like, for example, the initial cast that they wanted when they first started writing the movie was supposed to be Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and John Belushi instead of Martin Short.
Oh.
And then the actor's death and when Belushi died in 1982, that kind of changed things.
Wow, that would have really changed it.
And then the script was rewritten, and the title was changed to Three Caballeros. And at that point, it was supposed to be Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd, and Robin Williams.
Oh, wow.
That were looked at for the role. And then it kind of reverted back to three
Which
three
of those I would have loved to have seen Belushi in there. Martin Short, I feel he's not really my style. He's okay. He was funny in this movie, but
that's his first film too.
I would have liked to have seen Belushi in there. Of course, Robin Williams is amazing, but I feel like maybe he would have just like overshadowed everything,
Probably. I mean, it'd be interesting because I don't know if Robin has ever worked in a film wise. I don't think he has ever worked with Steve Martin. So it would have been a first time.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting to see.
This movie kind of reminded me of Dumb and Dumber. Actually, The Jerk I watched again. That really reminded me of Dumb and Dumber. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
that one I can see for sure.
Yeah, it was really fun to go back and watch it because I always had a soft spot for this movie, and I looked at and it's like all the critics didn't like it. It's not that well regarded. Let me go back and watch it again and just see if I like it. And I'm like, yeah, I still like it.
It's a great movie, and it's in my honorable mention. So that's one I don't have to add, but we don't have to talk about when we get to that. Yeah, so that brings me to my number 5, and my number 5 is another one like that. Like I mentioned, not the highest reviewed Steve Martin film, but one I've just always loved for some reason. My number 5 is from 1996. It's Sergeant Bilko.
I never saw that one.
It takes place in the U.S. Army, and it takes place on a military base. And Steve Martin is a con man who's in charge of the motor pool on the base, but he's constantly running gambling out of it, like taking bets on boxing. He's doing dog races throughout the park, but it's like the dogs are on remote control cars because he can't the rabbits on like a remote control car with like dogs following it. And he's always one step ahead of like all the brass on there, which is Dan Aykroyd's character, because Dan Aykroyd is in the film. And he plays like the major on there, and he's always like one step ahead of him the whole time until Phil Hartman, the late great Phil Hartman, comes in, who is somebody he has cheated in the past, comes to the base, finds out that Steve Martin's Sergeant Bilko is there, and like now he's on his ass and he's trying to catch him. And then it's like a kind of like back and forth between the two of them as to Steve Martin trying to stay ahead with Phil Hartman behind him. And it's such a fun movie. It's so ridiculously it's so ridiculous, but there's so many moments in the movie that make me laugh. And there are so many quotable lines that I still quote to this day. Like I can probably say half the lines of that movie as I'm watching the movie.
It's a great cast.
Yeah. Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd, Phil Hartman, who passed away, Glenn Headley, I think, who just recently passed away in the last couple years. And Daryl Mitchell, who we know from both Galaxy Quest and now I don't know if he's shown up recently, but Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah. Do you know Rebecca Louise, who's one of the listeners?
The name sounds familiar.
I was just telling her this morning that she looks like Glenn Headley. Check out her
profile.
Yeah, her profile. She's like, oh yeah, I can see that. Anyway,
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I got to watch that. I think it was actually. People liked it when it came out. I remember feeling like, because isn't it based on a TV show?
It's based on
Sergeant
a TV
Bilko,
series, yeah.
Which I never saw that either. Is it the same premise?
Never saw the show.
On Artist guy? Yeah, I don't even know.
So I don't know how close it is to the series, but it is loosely based off of a television series.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's been one that's always stuck with me. I just think it's a ton of fun, and
I think I've heard you mention it before.
probably at some point. It's one of the ones I actually rewatched in preparation for this.
I should watch it again. After 9 Steve Martin movies, I'm not tired of Steve Martin, so maybe I'll go watch it again.
Yeah, there you go.
Or go watch it. Yeah.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Parenthood.
A great movie.
Which is such a great movie, directed by Ron Howard, who also co-wrote it. Apparently, it was partially based on his own family experiences. 1989, and I watched it when it came out. I was 18 years old. I liked it. I always liked movies with heart. You know, it's not really a comedy. It's got some funny moments, but it's kind of a comedy drama, I guess. Mm-hmm. And but I hadn't watched it again since becoming a parent, and now it's a way different experience because it's all about the painfulness of being a parent, all the worry that comes along with it, and little things like grabbing your kids about to walk in front of cars in the parking lot. I do that every day and they never listen. Or, you know, just having to be the bad guy, or worrying you failed as a parent, or when the teacher asks whether they've taken one of their kids for a psychiatric evaluation. Like I had to take Bodhi for a developmental evaluation, or blaming the other parent for stuff that's wrong. Just all these little things about parenting that it's pretty clear that the person who wrote this is a parent. So that part is great. I love seeing Keanu Reeves in this. Yeah. I think it was his first part after Bill and Ted. And he hadn't yet done, I don't think he'd yet done Point Break. So he was still, like, in my head, this goofy kid, right?
Yeah,
he wasn't
Todd.
Like, yeah, yeah. But he's kind of, the mother hates him, and you're not sure what to think. But I was happy, like, we're spoiling stuff, people, so I'll say it. But I was happy that
the warning at the top.
Yeah, that he actually turned out to be a good guy and a good role model for Joaquin Phoenix, who's the little kid.
Yeah.
In this, you know, you see him. I mean, it's a great cast. Mary Steenburgen,
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis as this like tiger dad, tiger mom / dad.
Yeah.
Martha Plimpton. And then the thing that I like have one for all the comedies, like a funny thing that stands out to me. For me in this movie, it's the diarrhea song that the little kid sings. When you're sliding into first and you're feeling something burst, diarrhea.
And it's interesting too, because like I remember hearing that song as a kid too. So I don't know, like, did it come from Parenthood?
I'm not sure.
Or was it around before that and they just happened to use it in Parenthood?
When you're sliding into third and you feel a juicy turd. And it spawned 2 TV series. I think the first one only went 1 season, but in 2010, I think it's showrun by Jason Cabassi, who also did 6 Feet Under, which was excellent. Not 6 Feet Under, Friday Night Lights he did, which was excellent. But it starred Peter Krause from 6 Feet Under and Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls.
Dak Shepard, I think, was in that as well.
Yeah, and yeah. I've that's on my list to go back. I've seen an episode here and there, but I feel like I want to jump into that because it looks really good.
I've never seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
So that's another.
Did you watch Friday Night Lights?
I did. Well, I stopped after a couple seasons, but I know for sure I watched at least the first 3 seasons.
It has that same how Friday Night Lights had a feel as if they were kind of improvising a lot of it. I think Parenthood has that same, but it also has like a big heart to it. And this movie has a lot of heart too. That's probably the main reason why I liked it so much. Just brimming with heart. And Steve Martin's character, such a good guy.
And it's interesting that you mentioned too how a movie can take make a different effect, or affect you differently rather when you're older than you were when you were younger. Because Parenthood came out in 89, I think. Yeah, late 80s. So you know, 89. When you're a teenager or a young child watching this, you like it for a completely different reason than you do when you're older and finally have kids and you're a parent of your own. So I'm not yet at that point where I've experienced Parenthood, but I know enough people who have, and I have indirectly because of that it would probably reflect differently on me.
I mean, I liked it as an 18-year-old when I saw it, and you said what a great movie as soon as I brought it up, right? So
it's in my honorable mentions. I mean, it's you know, again, there's so many movies that were so tough to not put in top 5, and
absolutely.
That was one of them.
Yeah, it's a good one.
My number 4 is actually the one that I think we might share in our top 5 at some point. My number 4 is a movie from 1987 called Roxanne.
That's what I thought when you said it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a modern adaptation, well, modern for the time, adaptation of a Cyrano de Bergerac play in which, he has a large nose and he's trying to kind of woo a woman through another person, but then he also is interested in that person, and it becomes this big, this big to do about him trying to woo her in other ways. And I think the movie has such heart. I mean, it's very interesting to see somebody with like a long nose like that, because it definitely draws in the attention. But in the same way that you kind of point out a familiar scene from the movie that kind of sticks out to you, one of the ones from this one that always sticks out to me is when he's going through like what I call the insult fest.
Yes,
where he's kind of insulting himself before anybody else can do it.
Well, they're playing. This guy says, "Hey, big nose," that part, and some douchebag, and then he goes, "That's the best thing you can come up with. Here, throw a dart at this board, and then I'll make 20 better, or I'll make as many better insults as whatever number you hit." And he hits number 20.
And then he just goes into like all these different insults about himself, and they're brilliant. But at the same time, like, he's winning the crowd over, like he's winning everyone over by insulting himself. And it's just,
he's the man.
He's
in this movie.
I mean, you have Steve Martin, Daryl Hannah, Fred Willard, Shelley Duvall. I can't remember who the actor was that played the other fireman.
Rick Rossovich.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, like, again, like, this is one of those ones that has always stuck out to me this is one of the ones I actually wished I did watch leading up to prepping for this, but I didn't, unfortunately. And it has been a while since I've seen it. But I just, thinking about Steve Martin movies, this is one that I knew from the moment we talked about doing this episode had to be in my top 5 somewhere.
Absolutely. Well, should I say whether it's on my list or wait in case it is or isn't?
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, if it's on your list, if you want to wait until we get to that point, then if you have any additional notes, we can add right onto it.
Okay, I'll wait. And then if it's not on my list at the end, I'll say, surprise, it wasn't on my list.
All right. Fair enough. That takes us into our number 3.
Okay, number 3, Roxanne. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
My number 3 is The Spanish Prisoner.
I've never seen it. No.
It is probably the most different of any of his movies that I've seen. And he's a supporting character. He has a big role, but the main character is Campbell Scott.
Okay.
Who was in a few movies back then. I think it was in a movie with Julia Roberts or something. It's written and directed by David Mamet, who's, famous for being a playwright, and also for his particular style of dialogue, which is incomplete sentences, interruptions, using old sayings, and this kind of stilted delivery, but in a charming way. So it's all about the style of it. It's really understated. The characters are weirdly polite with each other. It has a very Hitchcockian feel to it. If you see it, you will understand why I say that, because you're not sure what's real and what's not. There's a lot of twists. There's things like the first half of the movie almost seems weirdly mundane, but then things that happen early on take on a new, like, kind of nefarious significance later when you realize what's really going on. And I'm going to be vague about it because you haven't seen it, and I know a lot of people haven't seen this, so I would actually like for people to go and see it. But it's definitely a movie that you need to push through the first half, because at first it seems slow, but then once you get to the middle, it's like, okay, here we go, And it's about con artists, which I noticed Steve Martin likes to be in movies about con artists.
I was just going to say the same thing. Like, I'm looking ahead at some of my other top 5, my honorable mentions. I'm like, he plays a lot of con artists. Yeah.
This is a different kind, and you're not sure who's conning who, and it's not a comedy at all. Like, it has kind of the feel of a murder mystery about it. It has Ricky Jay in it, who's this real life con artist type. He passed, but he's a magician. If you go to YouTube and look at Ricky Jay card tricks, there's some amazing stuff in there. Rebecca Pidgeon, who's Mamet's wife, is one of the main characters. Steve Martin is All the performances are so kind of restrained that it almost feel like it didn't need to be him, but he's really good in it. It was nominated for Best Screenplay that year in '97. This is actually a little spoiler, but the most recent movie on my list. I need to go watch some more recent ones of his again. And then there's this great MacGuffin in it where the thing that everybody's after is this thing that Campbell Scott has made called the process, which they mention they can use it to control the global market for something, but you don't know what it is. But because it's so valuable, it reminds me of the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, the glowing briefcase. You never figure out what it is. Because it's so valuable, all these like really power players are interested in it. So you see like all these ultra rich and powerful who want it. And then the music is by Carter Burwell, who did a lot of Coen Brothers movies like Fargo and Raising Arizona. So it's really good music. It's good. It's Hitchcockian, so I think you probably like it, knowing that you're into Hitchcock.
Yeah, I mean, everything you're saying about it, I think I want to add it. I'm definitely going to add it to my list to check out, and probably relatively soon, because I know just in talking in these conversations, there are movies I'm going to want to rewatch from Steve Martin, and I'll add that one to the list since I've never seen it before.
We'll be curious to know what you think. Yeah.
And I love that you use the word MacGuffin, because like I love anytime that comes up in a movie. Like I love the idea of MacGuffin, and especially when movies I know this is kind of going off a little bit, but I just recently watched Red Notice on Netflix with Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's a new
Gadot.
one that just came out. Yeah,
and they're looking for this rock, and they're trying to find, or not a rock, an egg, and they're trying to find it in like this warehouse. And Ryan Reynolds is saying like, or Dwayne Johnson says to Ryan Reynolds, like, how do you know? Like, how are we going to be able to find it? And Ryan Reynolds is like, I don't know. Let's just look for a box that probably says MacGuffin on it. It's just...
Yeah, and I mean, this and the Pulp Fiction one are the two MacGuffins I can think of where they're so MacGuffin-y that you don't even find out what they are. And there's something I kind of like about that. It's like the writer saying, it doesn't really matter. It's just really valuable. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's just driving the story forward. It doesn't matter what's in the briefcase. So yeah, I'm gonna check that one out. Spanish Prisoner, you said, right?
Mm-hmm. But you got to watch the whole thing. You can't decide after a half an hour, this is too slow.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
Speaking of con man, my number 3 is another movie where he plays a con man. And this has been a movie that I feel is incredibly underrated, but I loved it the first time I see it, and I love it even more every time I see it. It's from 1999. I went with Bowfinger.
I didn't even realize he played a con man in that. I saw it at the time, but I can't remember.
Well, one of the taglines of the movie is called "The Con is On." I mean, and it's.
I swore you were going to say "Dirty Rotten Scoundrels." Okay, go on.
No, and it's well, that would make a lot of sense too when it comes to the con man. But he plays a movie producer who is trying to get this movie made, and instead of he fails to get the big star, which is Eddie Murphy at the time. And although I don't think he plays Eddie Murphy. I don't think
some
that,
other,
because he plays two different characters in the movie, and I don't think either one of them are Eddie Murphy. I know one of them is Kit Ramsey, which is the nerdy version of the character that Eddie Murphy plays. But he is it's funny because he's a movie producer trying to get this movie made. So since he can't get the star, he gets a lookalike who comes in, and he's conning all these people to be in the movie by following them secretly with cameras, trying to get this movie made and make it look like it's big budget when it's not. I just like, the cast is amazing with Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, Christine Baranski, Heather Graham, Jamie Kennedy, Terrence Stamp, Robert Downey Jr. is even in a scene in the movie. It's so much fun, and it's been a movie that just always sticks with me every time I watch it.
I got to watch that one again too, because I watched it when it came out and I liked it, but I've just never revisited it. And I watched 9 movies. I couldn't watch any more than that. But yeah, I definitely want to go back and watch that.
You only take so much before you need
Eddie Murphy's great.
Yeah, I mean, and he's real. Eddie Murphy even shines in this movie too. Again, he plays two different roles that are just completely opposite of each other, but yet so exaggerated. Like, playing the Kit Ramsey version, he's like this really nerdy version. I mean, I might be wrong in Kit. Like, Kit might be the other version, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the film.
Right.
So forgive me for not remembering the characters' names, but he plays one exaggerated nerdy version, and then in the other version, he is a big movie star, but he thinks like there's these government people out to get him, and he's in the pyramid power, and it's like it's so ridiculous, and it's just fun. And every time like Steve Martin is following him with the camera, and the actors are following at the camera secretly, he thinks it's the government following him, trying to get like the pyramid power, and it's so over the top and funny, but I love it. So brings us to our top 2.
Okay, well, my number 2 is Roxanne, and I love that movie so much that means that my number 1 I really, really love, because otherwise Roxanne would have been number 1. It's written by Steve Martin, which I think it just is a testament to his talent. I really liked the feel of it, the small town feel, and it had this kind of breezy vibe, and I love that he's the fire chief and he has this bumbling crew that always mess up. They can't hold the hose right, and
I forgot about that.
They're trying to save a cat, and they're like pushing ladders through people's windows, and he just walks up and puts some cat food down, and the cat comes down. It's really quirky. I like how, for some reason, he's an acrobat in this movie. Remember, he like climbs up houses. He just jumps up and does a flip. And I don't even know why. Like, I went back and looked. Was Cyrano de Bergerac an acrobat or something? No.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know. And you're really making me want to rewatch the movie now. Like I said, it's one of the ones I wanted to. Was this one of the ones that you rewatched in prep?
Yes.
Okay.
And I loved it just as much. Kevin Nealon is in it as this like jerk who comes up, and I mean, people like he's really sensitive about his nose, Steve Martin. So he says something, and he has ski poles, and Steve Martin him and his buddy just beats the crap out of them with their own ski equipment in a really stylish way. He's like whacks him in the face with his racket and goes 15 love, stuff like that. This guy that has no game, Chris, he's like a really good looking firefighter. He like at the thought of speaking to a woman, he looks like he's gonna puke, which is hard to believe because he's so good looking. But one of my favorite moments is when Steve Martin's character is feeding Chris lines through an earpiece, and he has this hunting cap on to cover it up. And he's sitting next to Daryl Hannah, and he's like, "You are a lioness, alert and sensitive to every misstep. Therefore, I must move silently, moving in towards you, my hand outreaching to car 3, proceed to the 279.
I forgot about that part.
She's like, "What?" Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this is one I definitely need to rewatch, like really soon.
It's so funny, and it made me think of my own life. Like, I've definitely more back in high school experience where I like a girl, she likes my friends because my friends were better looking than I am, and it sucked. And
been there too, trust me.
Right, and then I'd occasionally, I remember a couple times where after I started talking to them a little bit, they eventually came around to me, but it took a lot of talking. And then with the whole thing you mentioned about where he has to do 20 insults to his own nose, I wrote down a couple of them. He goes, "Naughty, pardon me, sir. Some of the ladies have asked if you wouldn't mind putting that thing away. Philosophical, it's not the size of a nose that's important, it's what's in it that matters. Polite, would you mind not bobbing your head? The orchestra keeps changing tempo."
That's one of my favorite ones too.
And then he just beats the guy up. Like, he's kind of violent in this. And then another favorite line, last thing I wrote here, is when Fred Willard says, "A toast. I would rather be with the people of this town than with the finest people in the world." And they're like, "Yeah, hey,
wait a minute."
That really stood out to me. That's one of the things I remembered from the movie years later.
I need to rewatch that. I definitely need to rewatch that movie. That orchestra really insult is that's one of my favorite ones too, because I was a band geek in high school. So, like that always stuck out to me with the
me too.
The orchestra.
What did you play?
I was a horn player. So I was mainly trumpet, but I switched
Trumpet.
between like flugel and
Did I know that? I can't remember if we talked. I played bass drum and snare drum and, pit in the orchestra. And then I played some saxophone and clarinet too.
it was funny. Like I actually started, not to get too far off topic, but I wanted to be a drummer. And the music director at the time in the school I started at was like, well, we have enough drummers, but we need horn players. So maybe you might try horn. And then I started horn and I actually loved it.
That's funny because I wanted to play saxophone and they said we need drummers. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why you and I are both so good at BeatStar.
That's true. You're already like starting to like whoop our asses in that game.
Only with the diamonds. I'm getting in the zone. But anyway, we're going so far off track now. But this movie, like, when a movie has a nice feel to it, that goes a long way with me. Just a nice vibe. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sometimes in that movie, it felt like not much was happening, but it was just about experiencing the world of the movie. And I feel like Roxanne is a lot like that too. And it's just a pleasant experience.
Yeah, you're right. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like I remember really enjoying that movie. And then at the end when it was over, I was like, what was the story? Like, was there even a story?
And I don't even care if it's done well, it's fine.
It's like, how did I enjoy this so much? There was no story to this movie.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a bunch of happenings that happened. I had a feeling Roxanne was going to be in your top 5. Like I didn't think otherwise. It was just a matter of where it was going to fall. But I'm really curious what your number 1's going to be now, because I know how much you do enjoy Roxanne.
Right.
So I'm very curious.
I'm not going to say my number 1. No, I'm just kidding.
You just leave it hanging.
Maybe you can guess.
Maybe.
But we'll get to it.
We'll try. Yeah. So my number 2 is one that, and maybe I might be mentioning your number 1 when I say this too, but I know a lot of people when it comes to Steve Martin, when they think of like the quintessential Steve Martin movie, they think of The Jerk, because it's a very popular one. It's incredibly funny. It's incredibly well done. But there's one that kind of stands a little bit above that one to me. And it was tough not putting this one at number 1. But my number 1, like you, is one that I just absolutely love. My number 2,
like I've heard you say before, usually you just know what your number 1's going to be on these. Yeah. And I felt like that for this one for sure.
Yeah. My number 2, I went with All of Me from 1984.
I don't know if I've seen that
with Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin.
Lily Tomlin.
She is basically Lily Tomlin Steve Martin plays a lawyer. And Lily Tomlin plays this really awful dying millionaire who is ready to transfer her soul into like this younger woman so that she can continue living on. But through an accident, like they pour her soul out of her body when she dies and puts it in a bowl, but the bowl gets knocked out of the window and it hits Steve Martin in the head, and then her soul goes into him. Yeah, like it's sort of like magic, like voodoo.
Psychic kind of. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Something goes wrong and she finds herself transferred into Steve Martin's body, in the body of her lawyer. But this movie to me is such a masterclass of Steve Martin, because you have him essentially playing 2 characters at once, which would be a chore for any person, but he does it so brilliantly, from the acting to the physical humor. Like this, like, I mean, the scene where she first transfers into his body and she's trying to take control of the body while he's trying to keep control of it, and they're trying to walk down the street, and it's like it looks like a scene out of Monty Python and Ministry of Silly Walks. Like it's just he's all over the place, and it's so damn funny. And like Steve Martin is great in it, Lily Tomlin is great in it, because you still get to see her every time he looks in a mirror, he sees her, and it's so well done. And it's one that, like, to anybody who is a Steve Martin fan, it's probably one of my go-tos to recommend to anybody. Because again, I think it's basically a Steve Martin masterclass when it comes to films.
That's cool. Are you watching Lock and Key?
I haven't started it yet.
It's really good. There's one character who has, in the most recent episode I watched, two spirits enter his body at once, and then he's like fighting with himself. It kind of reminded me of that.
And that's anyway. Really, there are a lot of scenes like that.
Do they talk to each other in his head, like
yes.
"Are you" and stuff like that?
Yeah, he can hear. He can hear
awesome. Her. Okay.
And it's directed by Carl Reiner.
Nice.
So, it's got a great director behind it. But it's just, it's such a silly concept that works so well, especially when you put somebody like Steve Martin behind it. Like Lily Tomlin handles the acting, but he takes the physical comedy, and it's just, he takes it to a whole nother level that's just absolutely hysterical.
He's good at that.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I mentioned at the top how he's a Renaissance man getting involved in all these different areas, but also within acting, he's good in comedy and drama. Mm-hmm. He could play both for sure.
Yeah. I know another series a lot of people are watching right now that I haven't started, but I want to, with Only Murders in the Building. With Martin Short. I've
watched 4 episodes and loved it, but I got busy with other stuff, but totally intend to go back and finish it off. And it's what's the singer's name?
I know Selena Gomez.
Yeah. She's surprisingly great in this. She plays off of those two very well, and Martin Short is kind of an understated version of himself, which I appreciate because he's not my cup of tea normally.
He can be a little over the top sometimes.
Yeah. But he's great. I mean, they play well together. If you watch them do their comedy together, Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Mm-hmm. So, All of Me was my number 2, and it's just that is one of the ones I did rewatch when I was rewatching some of the movies in prep for this.
I'm curious about that because it kind of relates to my my number 1.
So just like The Spanish Prisoner, this would be my recommendation to you to watch since you've never seen it. And I'd be curious to know your thoughts.
All right.
Number 1s. Yeah, go for it.
Do you have a guess?
I want to say The Jerk.
No.
Okay.
But The Jerk is the one that I had a hard time not putting on my list as number 5.
I have another guess.
Okay.
Is it The Man with Two Brains?
No, but I like that, and I didn't go back and rewatch that. I have a feeling if I had, maybe it would have replaced Three Amigos. I need to watch it again. Like a lot of these movies I haven't seen since they came on.
I have one more guess.
Okay.
And then if it's not that one, I'll let you just reveal it.
All right.
Because it's in my honorable mentions. Is it LA Story?
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
It is. And that came out in 91. It's the 30th anniversary. Jesus Christ, we're old. And also written by Steve Martin, like Roxanne. I mean, I think these two movies are fairly similar in their feel. He's Harris K. Telemacher, the weatherman. When I saw this, I was working at a movie theater and I just fell in love with it right away. It's also got a great feel. It's got that breezy feel like Roxanne, but it's more romantic, and it's surreal and absurd and clever as hell, and it's really charming. The absurd part, it's also like a love letter to LA Story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when they're on he was on the freeway in the car with his girlfriend. And what day is it? Oh, it's the first day of spring. Get the gun. And then they like, load it. And then he's like firing out the window. And he's like, did I leave my blue pants in your apartment? It's hilarious. There's the way it's surreal, that the freeway sign that keeps speaking to him and giving him advice and riddles and stuff. I just love that because you can tell he's not happy with his life. He's got this kind of uptight girlfriend who's played by the woman from Taxi. I forgot, Marielle Henner or something like that.
Mary Lou Henner. Yeah.
Mary Lou Henner. And
his real life wife at the time was Victoria Tennant, who's also in the movie.
Was. Yeah. And that's the sad part because they broke up like 3 years later. Mm-hmm. But it's such a great love story between the two of them when they go to a dinner party and it's really boring and he makes an excuse to leave and she follows him out, and then they're just walking through this garden in the backyard, and then you see them as little kids walking, and there's this like ethereal, beautiful music, and I think at that part it's Enya playing actually, so it's just kind of innocent, but then they end up sleeping together out there, and then they come back and they're all kind of flushed, and one of the dinner party people kind of realizes what happened, and it's just like got kind of a surprised look on her face, but doesn't say anything. Mm-hmm. But I love the surrealness of it, the absurdity, like when Victoria Tennant's character Sarah says to Steve Martin, "Do people here get up early or late? It depends. Why? Well, if a person were to be making lots of noise, what time would they start? What kind of noise? Like construction? No, like deep sustained booming sounds. Deep sustained booming sounds around 9:15. Or what he keeps saying, it's funny too, like she's from England, she's visiting LA, and she keeps driving down the wrong side of the road. And he's in the car with her, and all the cars are swerving to get out of her way. And he's like, right side, get on the right side. And she's like, I don't think they can hear you.
I forgot about that too.
Or he'll be like, I just got a couple funny lines here. He answers, she calls and he answers the phone and he goes, "Hello, this is Harris. I'm in right now, so you can talk to me at the sound of the beep." Beep. And she's like, is this a person? Or Sarah Jessica Parker. She's Sandy. He's like, "Oh, I love that you have a normal name, that people have such weird names now." And she's all big S, small a, small n, big D, small e, big E with a little star at the end. And how she's just so like, she wants to spin on the beach, and she's like, "Do you ever wonder why all the water doesn't just fly up into the sky?" She's funny. And I read recently, I didn't know this, but that movie changed her career, because before that she always played nerds, and after this she started getting offers for sexier characters. So I think that means that if not for LA Story, there would be no Sex and the City.
I mean, that's a good thing to probably predict. I mean, especially considering like what she did, Hocus Pocus, Striking Distance, like there's a bunch of movies that she did after that, which all led to Sex and the City.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson has a great cameo where he's Steve Martin's boss, and Steve Martin decided to do the weather report a couple days early so he could go away on the weekend. So he just said it was 72 and sunny, and then it ended up raining. And he sees Woody Harrelson in the elevator, and he goes, Woody Harrelson's like, "You're fired. I never want to see your face again." And then the elevator door closes, but then opens again. And he goes, "I said I'd never want to see your face again." There's Patrick Stewart as the maitre d' at this fancy restaurant, Lidio, who needs to check on Steve Martin's finances before he can get a reservation. And he goes, he speaks in a French accent, "What would you order?" "Oh, I guess I would have the duck." "You can't have the duck." Rick Moranis is a gravedigger. There's all these Shakespeare references and misquoting. He says, "I have a favorite quote about LA by Shakespeare. This other Eden, demi-paradise, this precious stone, set in the silver steel of this earth, this ground, this Los Angeles."
It's a movie I haven't seen in a while, but I know I'm with you on that one. That's why it doesn't surprise me that it's your number one. Mm-hmm. And there actually is one line from that movie that I always remember, because it's even later in life I kind of found it profound, and it's why is it that we don't always recognize the moment love begins, but we always know when it ends? Right. And which I think is such a great line.
Yeah. He also says, which kind of surprised me, he said something like, "A kiss may not always be true, but it's what we wish were true," which is a little sad, but kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But it's just so damn romantic. At the end, he like changes the weather to get her plane not to take off, and then she comes back and they're together. I love everything about it. It actually influenced my decision to go to school at UC Santa Barbara, because they go stay in this Santa Barbara hotel. That's another one. So there's Sarah and her ex-husband, who's trying to get back together with her in one hotel room, and Steve Martin and Sarah Jessica Parker in the room next door, and they don't know that they're right next to each other, but they both have sex and they can hear each other. And then you see them both in their bed, and you see Steve Martin has a thought bubble above his head, and it shows Victoria Tennant's face. He's thinking of her while he's in bed with Sarah Jessica. Then Sarah Jessica Parker has a thought bubble, and it's Mel Gibson. And then you go to the other couple, and you see Victoria Tennant's thinking about Steve Martin, and then her ex-husband is also thinking about Mel Gibson.
Well, if I remember correctly, the movie, like, isn't he using Sandy to make her jealous?
Well, he is... he goes to this clothing store where she works, and it's all hip in LA, and she's just like, she's so bouncy in this movie. She won't stay still. Oh, she's all bouncing all around him and measuring his inseam, and he's like, whoa. And she's super sexy, and she writes his phone number down on her hand so she can call him when the pants are done. And then she ends up calling him and inviting him out to dinner. And since he's not happy with his current girlfriend, he goes, and they kind of hit it off, but she's clearly not really a match for him. But then I think after that is when he sleeps with Victoria Tennant's character. So, and he was supposed to go away with Sarah Jessica Parker, but he goes to her place and he's like, I can't go with you. I'm seeing this other woman now. And she's like, oh, well, so you're seeing her this weekend when we were supposed to go out? And he's like, no, she's with her ex and they're seeing if they can make it work. And she's all, that sucks. Share how that makes you feel. And then he's all, yeah, well, I hate it. I fucking hate it, but there's nothing I can do. And she's like, he's like, well, you should just go away with me anyway. And he goes, well, if I did that, I would just be using you to get back at her. And she's all, that's fine with me. All right.
Okay.
And then he goes, but we can't make love this weekend. Let's just be friends. We can't make love. And she goes, okay, we'll just have sex.
I have to add that to my list with Roxanne to rewatch, because I do remember really loving that movie. It's just been a while since I've seen it.
I don't know that, you know how sometimes there's just a movie that strikes you personally because you vibe with it. I just feel like that for me. It felt like, I feel like this movie was kind of made for me. I don't know why exactly, but I just love it.
No, I get it. I totally get it. That's a great pick. And like I said, I kind of had a feeling, I don't know why it was even my third guess. It should have been my first guess for your number one. So I guess that brings me to my number one. And my number one is one that I don't know if anybody would have ever chosen as my number one, but I just love this movie so much because I just think it's a ton of fun. We talked about a number of other movies he's worked with Rick Moranis in the past, and this is one that it's him and Rick Moranis as the leads. I went with My Blue Heaven from 1990. I
don't remember if I saw that. God, I feel bad now. I'm going to have to go and watch all these movies that you have on your list.
Steve Martin plays he's
a mobster, right?
He's a mobster in witness protection. Rick Moranis plays the FBI agent that is assigned to him. And it's, Vincent Antonelli is the character that he plays. He's a mobster from New York who's in witness protection until he can testify. And it's Rick Moranis.
He's married, right?
He's married in the beginning, but his wife leaves him because she can't, like, the day they move into witness protection, she leaves because she can't take being in witness protection. Oh. And he does actually end up meeting somebody else while he's in witness protection, and there's a romance between those. But it's a really great comedic story about, like, Rick Moranis is this really timid FBI agent who's in charge of keeping tabs on him, and like he's trying to be good, but Steve Martin's Vincent is trying to be good, but he's not always good at it because he's just known crime all his life. And there's this really great like friendship that kind of grows between the two of them. And the whole, not to give away too much, but like he's always saying, like, if anybody ever found out he was there's guys that would show up and try and kill him, and that comes back into play later. Sure, and nobody ever believes him, but that does end up coming into play. And he helps, like, Rick Moranis's character has a crush on a local police officer, and Steve Martin kind of helps build the relationship between the two of them because neither one of them is really good at relationships. It's just, it's such a great,
it's a buddy comedy, huh?
It really is kind a buddy comedy. And it's always been, Steve Martin, Rick Moranis, Carol Kane, Joan Cusack. There's some big names in the movie.
Nice.
And it's just been a movie that I've always loved. And it's always stuck out that when we started doing this, it's like, yeah, My Blue Heaven is in my top 5. It's just a matter of where. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, just the fact that was the first movie that I thought of, like, that's got to be my number 1.
So if I was going to pick either My Blue Heaven or All of Me, which one?
Oh, that's a tough question. You know what, though? In all honesty, I'd probably say All of Me.
Oh, yeah. The reason why I said that was connected to my pick is because I think All of Me is where Steve Martin met Victoria Tennant. She was in that, I think.
She is. Yeah, she's the woman that the soul was initially supposed to go into.
Okay.
Yeah, she was the woman that was chosen for the soul to go into first. And then it ends up in Steve Martin.
Well, yeah, I miss Rick Moranis. I guess he decided to retire, but that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another tragic story. I mean, his wife got sick, so he retired.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay.
He retired so that he could be home to take care of his wife and take care of his kids. And then his wife passed away, and then he became a stay-at-home dad, take care of his kids. His kids have since grown, and he has come out and said he would entertain the idea of coming back. And he's done a couple things. He's done some voiceover work since then, but he's never done anything on screen.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's weird because sometimes when actors aren't around for a while, I mean, even Steve Martin, like the movie climate is different. So there needs to be a great movie for Steve Martin and Rick Moranis right now. That'd be awesome.
Bring the two of them back together would just be great. I mean, yeah, that'd be fun. I would watch it.
Absolutely.
I mean, even the new Ghostbusters couldn't bring Rick Moranis back out of retirement. So, or on-screen retirement.
When's that coming out? Like next week or something?
No, by the time people are listening to this, it opens. It opens today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It opens on Friday. So, I mean, by the time we're recording on Thursday, it'll be
awesome.
out. I'm going
it's
to
got
see
some
it
good buzz.
And I'm going to see it on Sunday and Tuesday.
Yeah, it's getting some good buzz. I'm totally excited for that.
Yeah, me too. Because actually, Damien and I just covered the Ghostbusters franchise a couple episodes ago, first part of Spooktober, and then I'm returning. We're going to do a review of Ghostbusters Afterlife on his podcast, Watched It in the 80s. So, a cool crossover there.
But it's not the 80s.
Well, the franchise started in the 80s, so so he's bringing it over.
Yeah, and the cool thing about podcasts is you can do whatever you want.
Pretty much, yeah, that's pretty accurate. So my number 1, My Blue Heaven, which if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Cool,
it's a lot of fun.
I just remember the posters with that haircut that he had.
He does. He has that monster haircut, the stand-up flat top haircut.
Yeah. I think that's what made me think I've seen it because that poster is so iconic. But what the plot you're saying isn't ringing a bell, so I don't think I saw it.
Okay. And one of the fun things when you do go back and watch it, or anybody who goes and watches it, if you haven't seen it, an interesting tidbit to keep in mind when you're watching it is that Rick Moranis actually originally auditioned for the Steve Martin part, which. After watching the movie, I can't see it being done any way that they did it.
Any other way.
Other way that they did it.
Like the role he played in Parenthood, he's this really intense type A personality who's pushing his daughter to be a little genius. And I would have never thought he would do a role like that, but he pulled it off. So that makes me think, he could probably do a lot of things. Yeah,
I'm sure he's really versatile.
But yeah, once you see a movie and you love it the way it is, you don't want to see it. Yeah,
exactly. Changed. Like I can't see it any other way than the way that it's been. So yeah, lots of great movies in our top 5, which was awesome. But I don't know about you, but I have a couple of honorable mentions.
I got 2 honorable mentions and 2 other ones I watched that I thought might be contenders, but after I watched them, decided not.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have a couple as well, and we've made mention of a couple of them, so I won't have as many, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on these. We can just kind of go through them in quick passing. But what's one of the ones on your list for honorable mention or want to mention?
The Jerk was one.
Of course.
Now, when I first saw that, I saw it as an 8-year-old, probably back in 1979 when it came out, because I was born in 71, and I thought it's funny, and I've seen him on Saturday Night Live. But it's just goofy. I mean, I watching it now again, I actually liked it more than I did back then. But it wasn't until I started seeing some of his more like roles with depth, like Roxanne and L.A. Story, that I really came to like consider him one of my favorites. All that said, it's like this movie was his first movie, and I think it was his bid to transition from stand-up to movies, and there were parts of his stand-up that were in the movie, like he had a line, "It hasn't always been easy for me. I was born a poor black child."
Yes.
and there is all that stuff of his black family, which today it's like, oh, is that okay? And people have asked him about it, and he's like, well, I haven't watched the movie in a long time, but I remember everyone being treated with such respect on the set. So anyway, I just watched it again, and I think it's got a good heart to it. So. Anyway.
And it's just him and Bernadette Peters are so great together in that movie.
They dated too back then, I think.
Yeah, I think they did date during that time actually. And like I know, talking about scenes that we remember the most, like the one scene that I remember the most about that is when when the guy's trying to kill him and he's at the gas station and he keeps shooting the cans instead he keeps missing Steve Martin.
Yeah, he hates these cans. I like when he's so innocent in this movie, and Bernadette Peters gives him a kiss on the cheek, and he's all flustered, and she's walking away, and he goes, "Oh, miss, I was just standing here right now, and I was wondering if you were doing anything tomorrow, if you maybe you would want to go out with me."
Yeah, that's it. Again, like I think, I mentioned with all of me how a lot of people go to The Jerk when it comes to like quintessential Steve Martin. There's a reason, because The Jerk is just so
Steve Martin.
Yeah, and so Steve Martin.
Yeah.
One of my honorable mentions, this was tough not to put in my top 5, but I really put some thought into it. And the only reason, and there is a reason why it didn't make my top 5, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I didn't feel the need to put it in my top 5 is because it's a brilliant performance between him and John Candy, but John Candy to me is the standout in that movie.
Yeah, Steve Martin's the straight man.
Yeah, I mean, and John Candy is the reason why that movie makes me cry.
Yeah,
so
by the end, I mean, they do have good chemistry together,
yeah. And they're both funny in the movie.
Yeah,
but the only
later on, he's not funny at first, Steve Martin,
Yeah.
but he gets funny later.
But the only reason why I didn't put it in my top 5 is, like I said, I think John Candy is the stronger performance between them.
Well, that came out. It was so big. John Hughes directed, and it was just a movie that I never got around to watching. And so that is one of the movies that I watched in the last week.
Okay.
And I'd never seen it before.
Oh, really?
And
this was your first time?
Yep.
Okay.
And starting it, I was it's like Steve Martin is kind of a uptight jerk, and he's also super late, and bad things keep happening. He's missing his flight. He's stressed out. I'm like, this is no fun. I'm always late. I'm stressed out. I have to sit next to weird people on planes. I'm not enjoying this at all. And then it's not even that funny at first, but then by the middle of the movie, things just get so bad that, like Steve Martin's character, when the car catches on fire, it's like, okay, this is so bad that I just have to laugh, and I can't, you try to hold on to, I want to have things go a certain way, but when they get so far out of hand, you just kind of take a deep breath and go, okay, fuck it, it's fine. And that's kind of how I felt about the movie. Like, okay, I'm actually kind of into this now. And then, yeah, by the end, when they're hugging and everything, it's like so emotional. So I ended up liking it. I still I wouldn't consider it one of my favorites, but at first I wasn't even liking it at all, and by the end I liked it.
It's a regular viewing for me at Thanksgiving every year. Like I always
I could
watch
see
it
that for sure
at Thanksgiving every year. It's weird. Like it's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is one of the things that initially connected my ex and I, is because we were friends at the time, and the whole thing about how, like, I watch it every year for Thanksgiving. Her family watched it every year for Thanksgiving. There was kind of a connection. So it was actually something we ended up doing together when we were dating. And it's, we would watch it together at Thanksgiving together with our families. And it was, so like it holds some special places for me. But that, like, again, that ending, when you find out the real reason why he's out, why John Candy's character, he has no home. Like,
that's what the movie's all about, is that ending, really. I feel like without that, it wouldn't be what it is.
And I don't think The older I get, the easier it is to make me get emotional and cry
I know.
watching movies. So
know.
I think I cry more every year I watch that movie, which
Well,
is
now
odd
it
because I've
reminds you of
seen
your
it so many
ex,
times.
so it's like that's probably part of it too, right?
Oh, no. That's not a
No.
reason to cry. That's a reason to cheer.
Makes me so happy she's not around when I watch that.
Exactly.
But I like also that there's, because it's John Hughes, there's Ferris Bueller actors in it, Ben Stein and Ferris's dad and the Edie McClurg, the clerk from the high school.
Yeah. Yeah. What's
ticket?
What's
lady.
another one on your list?
My only other like honorable mention is Grand Canyon. Do you watch that?
It's early 90s. It's been a while since I've
91.
seen it, but that's
Lawrence
the one,
Kasdan.
That's the one where he shot, right? He's like a director.
Yeah.
And he goes on the whole thing about trying to eliminate violence from film.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because, he's like the only character that doesn't grow through the whole. It's an ensemble movie with Danny Glover, Kevin Kline is like the main star, Mary McDonnell, Jeremy Sisto, and they all kind of grow by the end. But like, he's directing these super violent movies, and he's getting mad that they cut out like the brain splattering. Come on, I told you to get that in there. And then he gets shot in the parking lot, and he like pees himself, and he's got like pus coming out of his mouth. That's what really stood out in that movie. And I remember thinking, okay, so he spent a long time in the movie just having a change of heart, deciding he didn't want to make violent movies anymore. But really, it's watching it again, it's like two scenes, and then like one scene later, he's like, nah, forget that. I was delirious.
Yeah. It's been a while.
He's kind of a jerk in it.
It's been a while since I've seen that one, but I have seen it.
But watching it again, like the first scene is Kevin Kline, his car having car trouble in a sketchy part of town, and these like totally stereotypical black gang members give him trouble. And the movie is supposed to be about like the relationship between haves and have-nots and race relations and stuff like that, but it's a little cringy now. Like, a white person wrote this and it's kind of stereotypical, so I don't know. I watching it now, I was like, I don't know if this is good or not,
if it holds up in the current state of everything going on right now.
It was interesting.
Yeah, that's one I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch, because again, it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Right. What else?
Yeah, I have a couple other ones.
I got one more. So
okay, I'll do one, and then I'll let you do another one. Father of the Bride. I mean, working with Martin Short, it always seems to pay off pretty well for him, and this is one that just I just think is still another movie. I just think it's so sweet and it's so heartfelt, and it's a fun watch to me.
Yeah, I think this is one of the movies that most people think of when they think of Steve Martin, Father of the Bride, these days. And I haven't seen it since it came out, and I have very little memory of it, but I remember thinking it was a good movie. Didn't stand out as one of my favorites.
You haven't seen it since it came out? It's like 30 years ago.
I know.
Oh, all right. Fair.
Most of these movies are like that. I mean, I watch LA Story every once in a while, but otherwise, I hadn't seen Roxanne for decades.
Okay. You said you had one more, right?
One more, and it's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which I also hadn't seen since it came out, and just watched it again. And I don't like that one as much as most people, but it's still good. It's kind of like a goofier version of The Spanish Prisoner, really.
Okay. Yeah. From what you were telling me about Spanish Prisoner, I can kind of see that.
Con artists and twists, and things aren't what they seem and stuff like that. But it's good. Michael Caine and Steve Martin have great chemistry together. Yeah,
and there's definitely some goofy moments that happen in the movie, and I know they made a Broadway show out of it too at some point. So
the scene that stands out is when he's pretending to be this like special needs brother, and they're sitting at the dinner table. He's got
the trident at the table.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, but can I go to the bathroom first?" All right. And then he just sits there and like
he goes to the chair.
Thank you.
Yep. It's so ridiculous, but it's so fun at the same time.
Yeah.
Again, I'm with you. That's not one that I kind of tend to. It's not a go-to for me.
I know a lot of people really love it though.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
We mentioned The Man with Two Brains quickly, so I can throw that one out there. The only other two I have real quick, I'll make mention of Little Shop of Horrors, in which
so good, yeah.
He plays the dentist and it's so well done. His character is so great in that.
Yeah.
But the other one I want to mention is, oh God, certainly a sadist. Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid from 1982. It's like a parody film noir movie, all completely done in black and white. Another one directed and written by Carl Reiner, and it's so good. I mean, they take all these, like, again, it's a parody noir, but they have like all this archival footage of all these classic actors in this movie acting with them. Humphrey Bogart, Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman. Yeah. Like, it's,
oh man, I got to go back and watch that.
It's so well done, but it's another one that I haven't seen in a while, but I just remember really enjoying when I got to watch it.
I mean, the thing about that movie, and I hope listeners will forgive me for telling a personal story, but I was 11 years old when it came out. I went with two of my, kid friends, and, parents dropped us off. And my friend had just told me a story that the night before he had a dream that we were watching this movie, and the movie blanked out halfway through, and we ran out and God was there, and it was Judgment Day. And so we went in to watch the movie, and halfway through it blanked out. And so we ran outside and nothing happened. So we played video games for an hour and we never went back in. So I haven't seen the end of this movie. So I got to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, it's worth the watch. Again, it's very fun, and it's just it's a cool concept with cutting in all these like classic noir stars from like the 20s and the 30s and 40s, and just seeing them all interplay together with him playing the character. It's for a movie for the early 80s, that was actually pretty clever.
Yeah, that's cool. What about The Man with Two Brains? Just briefly, what was the plot of that one? Something with his girlfriend. He had a brain or something.
It's so he's a brain surgeon, and he like marries this killer, like a female killer, and it kind of like his life goes hectic, and he ends up basically falling in love with a brain.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
That's for the most part. It's been years since I've seen it. I mean, we're talking early 80s.
I remember laughing for sure.
And it's Kathleen another Carl Reiner movie too. So I mean, he's worked with Carl Reiner a lot. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think Kathleen Turner is the killer.
Yes,
is the femme fatale in the movie. But yeah, I remember laughing a lot at that movie. Me too. So, which is why I couldn't put it in my top 5, because it's been so long since I've seen it. There's a lot I don't remember.
Right.
But yeah, but it's a lot of fun from what I remember about it. The only one I want to make mention of too, and it's not a movie, so it doesn't fall in honorable mentions, but we talked about like Only Murders in the Building, working with Martin Short. And this is more of a personal thing for me too, because I actually have tickets to go see this, is when him and Martin Short tour together. Yeah. They did the whole An Evening You Will Forget for the Rest of Your Life back in like 2018. Which
I think I saw that on Netflix or something.
It was released on Netflix, and it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours on Netflix, but the actual show had like a 3-hour running time.
Oh, wow.
They're doing another one. They're going on tour again, and they're actually coming to my area, and I already have tickets. And I'm so looking forward to it. I actually had to double check because I know it's in March. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to be in Atlanta in March. I hope it's not the same weekend. Mm-hmm. And it's actually the weekend I come home from. Awesome. It's the weekend after I come home from Atlanta. So it'll be the first thing I do after I get back from Atlanta in March. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. So.
Yeah, they were on, was it Fresh Air? And they were great together, just being interviewed. I think it was Fresh Air with Terry Gross, just playing off of each other and stuff, talking about their show. My homework list for Steve Martin is I still want to read his biography, Born Standing Up. I heard that's good. His masterclass on comedy.
Yeah, I want to watch that too.
I've watched like the first couple, and they're brilliant. And I need to keep, they have little like 5-minute segments or whatever. Finish Only Murders in the Building, and now I have All of Me, My Blue Heaven, and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Lists.
You have to see the ending of it.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
You gotta watch the ending. Yeah, I have what is it? Spanish
Prisoner.
Prisoner. Yeah, to watch. Man with Two Brains is now on my list because again, it's been a while since I've seen that, and I want to rewatch Roxanne because I love that movie.
So good.
So you just gave me the idea of actually adding a homework segment to Will. By the end, like, okay, what's our homework for the future?
You kind of have been doing that.
Yeah,
just didn't call it that,
but I kind of like calling it the homework.
Right.
What's our homework going forward? So before we wrap things up, I mentioned, Podcastica Network, the podcast that you're doing. What's going on in Podcastica right now that people should check out?
A lot. Like right now,
always a lot.
Yeah, but right now there's like Fear the Walking Dead. No, I'm just kidding. It's so bad. But World Beyond is really good right now. It's gotten to the point where it's so good that I recommend people who didn't care about it go back and watch it if you're a Walking Dead fan. Yeah, it's like just right now, it's like, oh God, you're going to want to see this. That's what I'm covering on Walking Dead Cast. On Strange Indeed, I'm covering Lock and Key with Paik and Rima and Great British Baking Show, and we're having a ton of fun. Lock and Key is just one of my favorite shows. It's a really fun, magical, interesting, unique kind of a show. And they're covering Dexter on there,
which has been so good
which
so far.
Is good, and they're such super fans that it's really fun to listen to Paik and Rima talk about that. I've only heard one episode so far, but it was a blast.
So have I. I'm still waiting for the episode on the second episode to
I think
drop.
It might have come out today. I'm not sure. Maybe not. But and then we've got, of course, Wheel of Time, starring you and Greg and, not the show, but the podcast, and Wendy.
Ooh, I'm starring in the show.
Did you know that?
No.
House Podcastica. That comes out, today, if people are listening to us on Friday, right?
Yeah, and I think the first episode, is going to drop on Monday, I think.
And that show's, I think, been getting good buzz too, so I'm happy about that. Is that everything? Yeah, I think so. And then we're going to be going into Book of Boba Fett and Cobra Kai at the end of December, both of which I'm pretty excited about, especially Cobra Kai, but both of them.
Yeah, I love the coverage that you, Rima, and Rich do with Cobra Kai. Like,
we just love it.
It's so much fun, especially when you break into Terry Silver impressions, which I'm sure there will be so many more of.
Oh, God. Season. He's going to be on the show.
He's on the show.
Fantastic. And I think that's probably, it's crazy to think, but it might be my favorite thing that I've ever podcasted on is Cobra Kai.
Well, you have such a love for the Karate Kid too.
Yeah. And I thought the show, I heard they were going to do a show, and I'm like, well, that's going to be crappy, but I'm going to have to watch it because I'm such a fan of Karate Kid. And it turned out to be so good that I'm just really stoked about the whole thing.
It really is probably, there are very few. I have like a list of top 5 shows that are probably like my favorite current shows right now, like not shows that have already passed. And top 5, I think Cobra Kai is in that top 5, along with like Ted Lasso and What We Do in the Shadows. And then a couple others.
What We Do in the Shadows, so good.
But yeah, like you've got a lot going on in Podcastica, and I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to be a part of it with. I'm
happy you're going to be a part of that. I'm really happy about that.
We're excited. We're really excited to start covering it.
I liked you. We did that intro episode. You can find all this stuff at podcastica.com, by the way. And Ben and Greg and Wendy did an intro episode, and I thought it was fantastic.
That was a lot of time. And that was like, I was like, okay, we had a blast recording that intro episode. So if that intro episode is any indication, the next couple weeks are going to be some good material coming out.
We still don't like Wheel of Time on IMDb says it's so many episodes, but Wikipedia says something else. Do we know?
No.
How many episodes are in the season?
No, we're just going with the flow.
Right. When it ends, it ends.
I think they have it listed as like either 6 or 8 on IMDb, but Wikipedia has it listed as 10. So it's like, okay, we're just gonna go with it, and whatever it happens to be, it happens to be.
It's like, oh, surprise, it's 35 episodes.
It just means that around Christmas time, there's going to be 2 shows covered at the same time on Podcastica.
3.
Well, what's the third? Because Cobra Kai doesn't start until New Year's, doesn't it?
It starts December 29th. No, you're right. 31st. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's already it's over at that point.
Wheel of Time will be over by
depending on how many episodes it is. But yeah, okay, cool.
Well, I think we figured if it's 10 episodes, it's going to take us up to Christmas. So
okay,
that can't be right, can it?
Won't be more than that.
Oh yeah, because they're releasing the first 3 episodes
3 at once.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Right up until Christmas. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
All great stuff.
And so much like again, like you do. I mean. Like I put a lot of credit on you for choosing a lot of the coverage, but at the same time, like you have so many great people that are involved with Podcastica that they tend to like kind of naturally come together chemistry wise, and they kind of also get to choose what they're going to cover. You know, Wheel of Time was just something that like Greg said, "Hey, I want to cover Wheel of Time." Greg
was into it, and I like. Can't say yes to everyone who ever wants to do a show on Podcastica, but if the elements come together where I think it's something that our audience will like and the people who want to do it have had some podcasting experience and done well, which is what happened with Wheel of Time, then I'm like, okay, let's go with it.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why we call you the Podfather. That's your nickname. So, but thank you for coming on and doing this again. I know.
Thank you.
When you chose Steve Martin, I was excited to do this.
Cool.
Robin Williams, whenever we decide to do that, is going to be so, pardon my language, fucking difficult. Because I mean, he is.
I'm gonna have to watch 9 more movies of his before that. At least.
You know, you mentioned earlier how my number 1 is always usually very easy.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't figure out what my number 1 would be for Robin Williams.
I've got mine, but aside from that, I don't know. But for number 1, I know.
I think I know where I'm leaning.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and I'm sure we'll have you. I'm sure I'm going to have you back on for other stuff other than Robin Williams. And
I love this podcast.
It's so great. Happy. That makes me happy that you say that.
Yeah, it's really fun. I've listened to several of the episodes and I always enjoy it. It's really fun.
No, I appreciate that. So as for Wilhelm, if you like what you hear, be sure to leave a review on the show on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast platform that you're listening on. The more reviews, the more people the program can reach. Also, be sure to follow Wilhelm on social media, such as Facebook at facebook.com/The Wilhelm Podcast and on Instagram at The Wilhelm Pod. Lastly, you can always reach out to me directly at thewilhelmpodcast@gmail.com for any feedback or recommendations on anything you want to hear covered on the podcast. Looking forward into the future, we're going to be doing the Matrix episode in the beginning of December to kind of beat the new Matrix that's going to be releasing at the end of the month. And there's going to be a Christmas episode or 2 towards the end of December. And then January is James Bond month, which I'm really looking forward to diving into.
Cool. So you're going to do several James Bond episodes?
All 4 episodes of the month of January are going to be
James Bond related.
We're going to cover, each one is going to take a different actor who has portrayed Bond. And we're going to talk about the movies that they were in, which the Connery one's going to be a chore because I think he did like 7 or 8. So
and Daniel Craig did 5. The one guy who just did 1.
I mentioned last week that I was going to skip George Lazenby.
Yeah.
And of course, I think it was Steve who was on at that episode because we did the Westerns episode. He's like, you can't skip George Lazenby. It's part of canon. I was like, well, I'd have to squeeze him into the Connery. Yeah. I'd have to squeeze him in the Connery because he fell in the middle of the Connery movies. But I'm looking forward to that. And then after that, we'll go back to, just these topics, and it's fun, and there's still so many topics left on the list to cover.
Cool.
I'm always thinking of more. So, but no, thank you again for coming on. This is always great to have you on.
It was great. So, thank you.
As for me, thank you for listening. Thank you for all the positive feedback. But until next time, we'll see you on another episode of Wilhelm. Take care.
Bye.